And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am 110% committed to defeating the social engineers, the collectivists, the big international banks that are financing governments to take over their populations and domesticate them and enslave them for the planned economy. Both parties, Republican and Democrat, are bought and paid for. Tory, Labour in England, same thing in Europe. Now, there have been multiple parties in the past, but now there is only one party. It has two heads. Or it's like an eagle that has two wings, or a vulture. Now, I know, through a twist of fate, one of our listeners shot the video of Congressman Castle on the birther issue. Now, whether you believe that or not, the point is his constituents so mistrust Obama and the government as a manifestation of their distrust that they booed him off the stage and wouldn't shut up, mainly a bunch of retired people. Then Congressman Lloyd Doggett, in a mailer to only his constituents, because one of my employees' wives is a Democrat, he got one. It only came to Democrats. Totally spontaneous. My neighbor was there shopping and stopped and saw it. One of my dad's employees I talked to was there actually at the event because they've been a Democrat in the past, and they got the message. Okay? And now all these eyewitnesses are calling into talk radio and TV in Austin, Fox News and others saying, how dare you, in News 8 Austin, the local Time Warner, we have local CNN here. I think only 6 cities have it. And saying, stop saying it was staged. We're all Democrats. And the people I've talked to are all Democrats that went there and were angry. My neighbor is apolitical as best I know, and they were just there shopping. But the issue is Doggett was trying to leave and told them, I don't care if you're against it, I'm voting for it. He does that on the floor all the time. During Cap and Trade, I saw him. The reason I'm so excited is the whole left-right paradigm is collapsing. The 11% approval rating of Congress is showing, the 9% for Cheney. Obama's gone from 84 when he got elected to by the time he got in office, it was 68. And then now it's below 50, depending on the poll, 44 to 49, and plunging. He's lost 5 points of his core constituency. He had 51%. Depending on the poll, more than 5 points. But we've got to make sure it isn't all about Obama and just blaming him now and dumping all the sins on him. We had to politically expose Obama and wreck him so we couldn't bring in the cap and trade, the open borders, the anti-gun bills, new wars, the socialized health care. But now that he is politically grinding to a halt, we got to go, wait a minute, you're part of it too. And here's the key. And we're going to show you these video clips. Everywhere across the country, Republicans get booed off stage by their people. Democrats are getting booed off stage by their people. It's their own constituents doing it. A Tea Party is mainly libertarian Republican. It is. They're booing them off here in Tennessee, in Arizona, in New York, and Florida. I see these videos every day. We play them here all the time. So the media is desperate to say, A, it's staged and fake. That's Republicans and libertarian operatives. And B, they're then saying that it's only partisan. He'll be with us for 20 minutes in the next hour. He joins us via video connection from Hawaii. He's Genesis talk show host, Mike Rivero, whatreallyhappened.com. We link to his stories routinely at Infowars.com. Mike, this is what you talk about every day. It's what I talk about. The establishment is setting up Northcom, the police state. The flu is a cover if they need it to lock down. The establishment realizes that they have lost all credibility. Now this cover-up of the fact that this is spontaneous booing everywhere, that cover-up is imploding. Mike, what do you say to all this?
Well, you know, this reminds me of way back when the Clintons were in office, and they responded to all of their criticism by blaming it on the vast right-wing conspiracy. And this was a way of dismissing the protests without having to actually deal with the criticisms themselves. It was all part of a vast right-wing conspiracy. And we're seeing so much of the Obama administration replay the tactics and propaganda and spin from the Clinton administration. For example, the reliance on the Dow Jones as the public indicator of of the state of the economy when we all know that the Dow is really very disconnected from Main Street America right now. But all of this spontaneous booing that we're seeing all across the country, it's not just Democrats, there are Republicans up there, and Republican politicians are starting to feel the same thing. And this all ties in with this little program that we're trying to put together over here. And we haven't worked out all the details, but in a nutshell, what we're planning on doing is we're going to pay every American $4,500 to scrap their clunker federal government and replace it with something up-to-date and more cost-efficient.
Mike, maybe I'm ignorant, but I mean, obviously you're exposing their stupid program and tying it into them, you know. Absolutely. Well, we should scrap the bad government and trade it in. So cash for bad governments or cash for tyrants, what do you call it?
Well, cash for clunker government is what we're working on right now.
It took me a minute to get it because I was too busy literally getting excited. Is the hair on the back of your neck standing up, though, to realize that... Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to look like Don King deliberately here. This is just sort of happening as time goes on. And it does, on a more serious note, I do get a strong sense of panic coming out of various personal agendas, private agendas. Certainly right now, looking at what's been going on in the media, from, for example, this whole situation getting into the birth certificate, what's her name, Orly Tate's going ballistic on MSNBC yesterday, and the new video that just surfaced in reaction to this corruption scandal going on in New Jersey where people are just screaming at the reporters to get away. And, you know, it just feels like the facade is slipping, the cracks are showing, and everybody in positions of power knows it and understands it. They're not sure what to do about it.
Let me go one further. I'm sure you saw the CNBC story. We'll put that up on screen for folks watching at prisonplanet.tv as we simulcast the radio here today, that Geithner is blowing up and screaming and cussing in meetings with the Federal Reserve Chairman and others and flipping out, panicking over the audit the Fed. See, they've lost their facade. Toto pulled the curtain back, and there's no putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. Even if they block this audit or the next, the momentum has shifted. And once the facade of the left-right paradigm even has a little hole in it, it's all over. I mean, they're going to stage nuke attacks. They're going to launch wars. They're going to release bioweapons. But in the end, everybody's going to know they did that too. I can tell you fundamentally in my gut, in my intellect, in my spirit, Mike Rivero, we're going to defeat the New World Order. The only problem we face is the fake churches telling folks it's the end of the world, it's a foregone conclusion, you got to go along with it, evil can't be beaten, you're supposed to basically, you know, suck its toes or something. If we get past that, we're going to win this thing with God's help.
Well, I think absolutely. You know, we used to have this saying around here, the fastest way to bring down a dictatorship is to force them to act like one where everybody can see it. And this whole issue of attempting to block an audit of the Federal Reserve, even if they succeed, the political and public damage from simply having done that is going to be very devastating to the people. Because remember, government very much is like a church. It relies on the faith and trust and belief of the masses to continue. When you have a population which openly distrusts the government, as they do on the economy, on the swine flu vaccine, on all of this, this is a government that has lost the ability to function effectively. And it's just marking time looking for a place to collapse into.
Well, reading this article from the Wall Street Journal, there's another one from CNBC, the headline, Today's Outrage, Geithner Goes Ballistic. He's in a meeting with the private Fed chiefs and the Fed chairman Bernanke, which is just, of course, the holding company for stealing the $23.7 trillion in the last 10 months. And they're losing control. All their member banks are just stealing the money. They're not having any composure. Most of these elites, I'm tracking them, are leaving the country right now. They realize they have gang raped us so bad and screwed us over so bad that it's all going to collapse. That's why they're now kind of going, okay, everything's fine, the economy's fine. Before they were saying it was in trouble to scare us to go along with their theft. Now, because the Chinese stopped buying T-bills last week, they're now in panic mode. My God, I smell blood. I smell panic.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're going crazy. Geithner's screaming and yelling. He never does that. They're frothing, fighting with each other. It's coming out in the news. They're losing control.
Well, you know, there's an axiom about both show business and politics, which is never let the public see you sweat. When they get to that spot where they're losing it in public, you know things are really, really bad. I personally feel we're at the loot the nation stage in this country's history. They know they can't save it. They know they can't fix it. They're not even trying. It's basically grabbing the money, shoving it in their pocket, and skedaddling for the border. And this is why we're seeing all these arrests and all these reckless tax evasion things and using the names of prisoners and all the rest of this stuff going on.